to the show. So today I wanted to make something, starting off in the kitchen, that you can make for dinner tonight. Now this recipe uses a bunch of things that I usually have on hand in my pantry, full of flavor, takes pretty much no time at all, and it is so delicious. It tastes like you've been cooking all day, which is always a good thing, especially on a weeknight. So I am gonna show you how to make my harissa shrimp and chickpeas with a lemony couscous. Sounds kind of fancy, am I right? I'm feeling good about it. This is a really quick, delicious recipe. Everything comes together in no time flat, and it's wonderful. So the first thing I need to get started on is my couscous. So typically with couscous, when I'm making it, I usually just dump it in a bowl and then pour some hot water or some hot broth on top of it, and it's super quick. It takes only about 4 minutes to steam and cook up. But since it's dinner time, I did want to add some flavor. So in this pan here, over about medium heat, I've got 2 tablespoons of oil. I've cooked off 2 cloves of garlic that I minced up. And then as you can see, this wasn't a mistake, I have got 4 really thin slices of lemon in there. Now I added that whole lemon in, and that sounds a little maybe suspect, because everyone talks about how bitter that white pith is. But honestly, when you cook it down, it gets absolutely beautiful. It adds such nice flavor. So we're actually gonna keep those in this pan. That's looking wonderful. So now I'm gonna add in some broth. So I have got some warm chicken broth here. You need about 2 cups. If you wanted to, you could also use water. That would be completely fine. And if you got a little bit of like powdered bouillon hanging around, feel free to chuck that in there too. Always a good thing. So wait, I lied. I said chicken broth, this is vegetable broth. You can also do chicken broth, but I wanna eat it. So we're using vegetable broth today. So I'm gonna add that 2 cups right on into the pan. And you wanna bring that up to a boil. So add that in, doing its thing. Turn that heat up to high, and you want that to come up to a boil, because that's what you need to start cooking that couscous. So once that does come up to a boil, I'm gonna add in 1 3/4 cup of couscous. Typically when I'm making couscous, I do even parts liquid and couscous, but today we're going a little saucier, which I'm feeling good about. So I've got this couscous here. I'm gonna add that right on into the pot. So I've got that 3/4 cup, just scatter it right on top of everything. And then add in that other 1 cup. Do I have the exact right amount? Of course she does. Almost. There you go. Perfect. All right. Now, couscous is basically just like a ground up kind of sort of pasta grain situation. It's really, really tasty. Give that a bit of a stir. Immediately, it starts to thicken up beautifully. You see those lemons, you smell that garlic, and those lemons are kind of just breaking down a little bit, and it's gonna flavor that up totally beautifully. So once that comes up to a boil, pop a lid on that, turn the heat off, and let that sit for only about 4 minutes. To be honest, you can do this and it'll keep warm for a good long time, but that's all it needs for perfectly cooked couscous. So while that does its thing, I'm gonna get to work on the shrimp situation. So I've got a pan here. I love shrimp. I heard someone else is a shrimp fan in this audience. My friends and I call them scramps, which is just a fun word for shrimps. We celebrate Scrampmas at Christmas time. We eat too many shrimp. So this is kind of in honor of them. So in my pan over about medium heat, I'm gonna add in about a tablespoon of olive oil. You can use any sort of oil. You could also even use butter if you were feeling it, just some sort of fat to get things moving around. All right, that looks perfect. Now into there, I'm gonna add in a diced red onion. I'm using a red onion because I've got that at home. I love the flavor. It's a little bit spicier than a white onion, but if all you had was a white onion, feel free to use that as well. That'll be perfect. So add that on in. That's the sound that sounds delicious. If delicious had a sound, it would be that sizzle, am I right? Season that up with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And I wanna cook that down just for a few minutes, just to start softening up those onions. That shouldn't take too long, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, just to get them a little bit jammy and a little bit colorful. Now, to move things along, because this is TV, we don't have all day here on the good stuff, I'm gonna start adding in more flavor. So the first thing I need is some garlic. So I've got 3 garlic cloves here that I've thinly sliced. Anytime I'm looking for really kind of soft, perfumey, delicious, kind of sweet garlic flavor, you wanna slice it. The finer you mince up garlic, the more punchy and kind of spicy it gets. So add that garlic right on in. That needs about, whoop, she's making a mess. I didn't say it wasn't messy. So I got some onion on the thing, that's okay. Add that garlic in and let that go for just about a minute, just to start blooming those flavors and cooking off that kind of raw garlic flavor. Then we're gonna start building even more deliciousness. This is when I really get into my pantry. So the first thing I wanna add into that pan is a jar of roasted red peppers. Now, right? Someone else did all this work. All I had to do was open a jar. They are sweet. They are roasted. Someone else peeled them for me, which is an absolute delight, because who wants to peel a pepper? Not on a weeknight, definitely not. But I kind of have a bone to pick with roasted red peppers. They're kind of my nemesis sometimes in the kitchen, because anytime a recipe calls for like some of a jar, the rest of that jar just goes bad in my fridge, and it makes me so annoyed. So with this recipe, you're gonna chuck the whole jar right on into the pan. Waste not, want not. All right, so get those out of there. Strain out any of that liquid. If some of the liquid goes in, it's just gonna make it more jammy. That is looking beautiful. It smells roasted immediately, right? I'm feeling good about this, I'm not gonna lie. Now, into there, I'm also gonna add in that harissa. And harissa is a Tunisian spice blend. It's kind of a paste. You can get it at most major grocery stores, but if you can't find it, good old internet. That's where you can find it. It usually comes in kind of a tube. It's kind of strange. It's really spicy though. So before you add it, give it a little bit of a taste to see how hot it is. I like to go big, and I'm gonna add like 2 to 3 tablespoons. Yeah, guys, we're keeping it spicy. That's why I wear my red spicy shirt. All right. So add in that harissa right on into the pan. That's gonna bring so much delicious flavor. Sometimes if you buy harissa, there's one that has a little bit of rose in it. That's not my favorite one, but if you do, honestly, it works. So give that a stir. And then I'm gonna add in my chickpeas. So I've got a can of drained and rinsed chickpeas over here that I'm just gonna toss into the pan just to start picking up some color and getting a little bit golden brown. That's gonna just kind of come together and be absolutely delicious. That harissa is gonna coat everything. Those onions are gonna cook down. It's almost like a stew, like a summery kind of stew. So that smells and looks wonderful. Once that's cooked down for about 5 to 6 minutes, I'm gonna do something, again, wild. This recipe should be called Mary's Doing Weird Stuff with Lemons, because I'm gonna do something weird with a lemon. So over here, I have got a lemon that I just cut into quarters. And what I'm gonna do is pop these right on into that pan cut side down. That's gonna give a little bit of golden brown sear, a little bit of extra color right onto those lemons. And if you've ever bought a lemon and it is not juicy, you know when you buy a lemon of a lemon? And you're like, why did I spend $1 on this? There's nothing in it. I hate that. It's my least favorite thing in the world. So what I like to do is heat them up. If you heat them up in a pan like this or even pop them in the microwave, they're gonna get so juicy and wonderful, and you're gonna get so much deliciousness out of them. So that is looking wonderful. That needs to cook down. And then we wanna add in our shrimp. So once those are golden brown, you would take them out. And here I have got 400 grams of peeled and deveined shrimp. They were just frozen in the grocery store, bought them, and I defrosted them under cold water. My cousin Lindsay did not know this about shrimp. She did them under hot water. Don't do it. No, see, you guys know. Lindsay didn't know. It is not a delicious thing. You use cold water to defrost things. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but it defrosts them really nice and quickly, and they're gonna be perfect. So I'm gonna add those shrimp right on in. And the reason I love using shrimp in this recipe is because shrimp cook up in no time flat. Basically, as soon as they are pink, as soon as they are plump looking, and they kind of form the shape of a C, those are gonna be perfectly cooked shrimp. All right, I'm gonna pop a lid on that. Does she have a lid? She doesn't, but she has a pizza pan. I'm gonna pop a lid on that, let that go for just a few minutes until those shrimp are perfectly cooked. This couscous is smelling amazing. And then over here, does it not smell really good in the studio? I know, I'm feeling really good about it. Now, we've got those shrimp, they are nicely cooked. The harissa in that pan is gonna be spicy and wonderful. And I've got those lemons. So remember I told you, even if you had the saddest lemon in the world, if you heat it up, it's gonna be juicy. Just take a look at this. Pick up that lemon. Look at all of that juice that comes out of that lemon. And that's not even me squeezing it particularly well. So I'm gonna set those aside because I like to save them just for serving. Just in case anybody wants a little bit more acidity on there, pop those aside. And then you've got that beautiful mixture. I was saying, not gonna lie to the audience, during the commercial break, that if you wanted this a little bit more saucy and you had like half a jar of like tomato sauce left over from spaghetti night the other day, feel free to add that in. That'll be beautiful. Give it a bit more sauciness and it would be a dream. I love a pantry and fridge clean out recipe, especially when you're serving it to your friends and you're like, you're eating my leftovers and you don't even know. They're like, this is amazing. You're like, thanks, I made it 3 days ago. All right, now I have got that couscous here and it's been steaming. So let's take a gander. Oh my gosh, perfect. It looks so beautiful. Couscous is honestly the quickest grain to make. If you are in a pinch, someone's popping by, or you just need to get dinner on the table, couscous is your best friend. Keep it in your pantry. Basically, we've got that cooked in a little bit of vegetable broth. We've got that garlic in there, those lemons. And then before you serve it, you just want to kind of fluff it up a little bit. You see those little bits of lemon? See, all of the inside has kind of gone away. The white is nice and kind of rich, a little bit like golden. So that's gonna give you a ton of delicious flavor. So just fluff that couscous up. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. You're getting a couscous facial while you do it. It's always good. All right, that looks wonderful. Now, if you wanted to here, you could throw on some butter, a little bit of oil. You could stir in some herbs. That would be wonderful. But what I'm gonna do is actually just serve all of this chickpea and shrimp mixture right on top of that couscous. Because that's gonna be like a one-pot dish, almost like a casserole, but like the world's fanciest casserole. No one's gonna know. Just don't call it a casserole and they won't even assume. All right, so I'm just gonna grab that and just pour that right in the center. All that sauciness is gonna just be so delicious. Just make it into a big, beautiful pile with all of that couscous on the side. Pop that spoon in there. And now, to serve this up, because that harissa is on the spicy side, I do like to cool it down with a little bit of something creamy. So I just plop that down on my kitchen table. And then I give it a little bit of a zhuzh with some of that plain yogurt, just plain old yogurt. Not Greek, you could use Greek if you wanted to, but I like the kind of creaminess of that. Just a little bit of a swirl right around, some creamy, some delish, and then some fresh mint all over the top for a little bit of green. I like whole leaves, but if you want, you could chop it up. But again, I love that hint of mint. If you wanted, you could also do a bit of cilantro on here. That would be wonderful. Even something like oregano for a little bit more of kind of a Mediterranean spin. That would be delicious. Pop that all around. And then finally, you cannot forget about those amazing little cooked lemons that we did earlier in the pan. Pop those around that plate just to give you a little bit of extra juice, just to make it exactly what everybody wants to eat. To me, that looks like one heck of a dish. So you plop down on your table, add a little bit more salt just to the top. And I'm very excited about this. I'm gonna get the world's biggest spoon to give this a taste. Okay, where am I going in? Oh, I gotta get a shrimp, as I was saying earlier. Real shrimp fiend over here. A little bit of that yogurt, a little bit of deliciousness. Okay. Oh my gosh. That is so good. You need to make this tonight. It's so quick, so easy, and a total showstopper. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.